Good evening, everyone. I am getting ready to try a new recipe. I am going to can some spicy corn salsa. I will link the recipe down below. I've watched several videos, read a lot of recipes. The one I'm trying is made by Who's Your Homemade website. I will, like I said, I'll link the recipe down below. I'm gonna follow it exactly, only two changes. She used fresh cilantro, I'm using dried. When you substitute dried from fresh, it's 2 to 1. So 2 tablespoons of fresh cilantro equals 1 tablespoon of dried. She's not using lemon juice at all. Since there's tomatoes in it, I feel more comfortable using a little lemon juice. So I will add a tablespoon of lemon juice to each quart jar, half a tablespoon if I use pint. And so anyway, the reason I'm doing this is because corn is so expensive. I went to the local farmer's market. This was 4 ears for $1. I got 8 ears for $2. That's quite a good deal. In my area right now, 1 ear of corn at Walmart is 74 cents. And at my local grocery store, it's like 99 cents for 1 ear. So I want to try this, but this is kind of like a small batch because I don't know, whenever you try something new that you're not 100% on, you definitely should do a small batch because you don't want to make like a dozen jars of something that you end up hating. Trust me, I've done that. I did that with dilly beans. I hated dilly beans. So if you're not 100% positive, small test batch. This should, I think I mentioned earlier, this is 4 to 6 jars. So that's small enough. A good taste test. I'm 99% sure I'm gonna love it, but my husband doesn't particularly like corn that much, so I want to make sure it's something he'll eat before I make tons more. So this isn't really going to be a tutorial. It's just going to be how I do it. But I will, if you love to follow recipes exactly, I will link this down below. It's a great recipe, but again, there's tons online. Pick the one you like. But I think the reason I like this the best, this is spicy. I had all the ingredients. I have jalapeno I'm growing on my deck. I have poblano I'm growing on my deck. I happen to have a red onion. So really the only thing I needed to buy was the corn. Oh, I did buy tomatoes. I bought, they also at that farmer's market, they had, what are they called? Roma tomatoes? Roma tomatoes. You know, the little paste tomatoes. They had like a basket for like $1.99. So I got 2 small baskets. I think it equals like 3 pounds. And so I will use that in the recipe. Everything else I had on hand. In case you saw off to the side the mushrooms and wondering what that was about, there are no mushrooms in this recipe. I just have them out because I'm going to cut them up too. We did pick up, this is a black diamond watermelon that was $3.99 at the farmer's market, and this is a prickly pear. We just got one. This was $2.99. So prickly pears are grown in Arizona. I get prickly pear margaritas a lot whenever I see it offered on a menu. It's pretty seasonal. They're only they grow for like 2 weeks out of the year, and so it's very rare that I see them in the store. So we got one just for the fun of it, kind of like a novelty sake. And so there's that. That just happens to be on the counter. Now I'm cleaning the corn and boiling it. For this recipe specifically calls to boil your corn first. There are definitely salsa recipes where you don't have to cook it first, but since I'm choosing this recipe, I will follow it exactly. My 8 ears of corn are clean. The recipe calls for 6 ears. I bought 8 for 1. The deal was for $1, so I got $2 worth. And 2, I just wanted a couple ear for a safety net. If you've ever bought fresh unshucked corn, you've come across a hitchhiker. It can happen. Bugs are a way of life in farming, especially organic farming. Luckily, there was no hitchhikers on this batch, but some of the tops were soft, so I just cut off the tops. Other than that, the corn looks great. All 8 ears are great. I just mention it because sometimes you can open a corn that looks great and then it's pretty flawed on the inside. Doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen. It can happen. And so a lot of people, when they go buy fresh corn, they'll open it there at the stand, and farmers hate that because once you open it, you're taking the life of it. This is going to go bad quicker once you pill it. So you'll even see farm stands that will have signs that say, "Do not pill back the outside of the corn." So I think even at my local grocery store it says that. So sometimes you're taking a risk when you're buying corn on the husk. All right, so far I've got the corn chopped off the cob, diced a red onion, garlic, and the 2 types of peppers. Now, this bowl's not big enough, so I'm gonna put this all in a pot and then add the 2 pounds of tomatoes. And then, of course, the rest of the ingredients, which is the cilantro, cumin, salt, distilled vinegar, and sugar, and then get that to a gentle boil, and then we will do a taste test. This is a sampling of what the corn salsa looks like. I'm gonna have Robert taste test it real quick, make sure the flavoring's good before I can it, and see if we like it. All right, here we go, taste test. Robert, taste test. It is a little warm because I just put it in the freezer to cool it down.
Oh, it's interesting.
Oh, whoa.
I like it.
I really like that.
It's sweet.
All the other flavoring tastes good. Oh my god. That's really good. I might be making more of this. Is it hot enough?
What do you mean hot enough?
It has jalapenos and poblano pepper in it, but
it's still good.
it don't taste hot. But that's fine. It's still really good. All right, that's a success. I'll get canning it. I'm shaking my head at this nosy cat. None for you. None for you.
She likes corn.
She's sitting on a bar stool.
Hey, how are you?
She sits on a bar stool like she's a little human. Good morning. It is the next day, and the 8 ears of corn made 4 jars of spicy corn salsa. I was a little worried last night because I didn't hear these pop. These are new jars, but I've had them for a couple years during, you know, that crazy time a couple years ago when no one could find canning jars. These are Anchor Hawking. I saw them at some random store and I've never seen them again. And they're gold lids, and I don't know, they totally sealed. It's just not as clear as ball jars, like you can clearly see the circle, but I double checked and they're all sealed and they're tight. I just was a little worried because I like that popping noise. Like if you've ever canned, when you take them out of the canner and they start popping, that means the seal is popped up or popped down. There's no air. They're completely sealed. Didn't get that last night. Luckily, they're all sealed this morning. Since I had room in the Waterbath canner, I did 1 jar of banana peppers. I'm growing these on my porch, or I'm sorry, my deck garden. And I just had enough to fill 1 jar. So there we go. I still have some tomatoes left over and some onions. So I think today I'm gonna run out and get 8 more ears of corn to make 4 more jars. These are pint, so what I call medium-sized jars. You know, the half pint is the jelly, the pint is this, or some people call pickle jars, and then the quart is the bigger jars. So these are the pint. For me, pints are perfect for, I'm a family of 2, me and my husband. A lot of people prefer the bigger quart jars, especially like if you're a family of 4 or 6, you kind of need the bigger jars. But for me, pint is our preferred jar size.